We're solving the challenge called word pattern. It's a LeetCode challenge and it's about C++ strings. So I'm going to show my code here and explain in details. Before that, let's have a look at the instructions. They say, given a pattern and a string called S, we need to find if S is following the same pattern. So here, follow means there is a full match and there is a bijection between a letter in the pattern and a non-empty word in S. If you don't understand what this means, let's look at the examples here. So let's say pattern is a string of 4 characters, A, B, B, A, and the string S, which is the second parameter in our function, is a string of 4 words. So in this case, each character inside of the pattern corresponds to a word in the string S. So the character A corresponds to dog, and the character B corresponds to cats. So if we have A, B, B, A, it means we're supposed to have dog, cat, cat, dog. In this case, the output will be true because the pattern and the strings are matching. Or you can say that the string is matching the pattern. Second example, we have A, B, B, A, again as the pattern. So A corresponds to dog, B should correspond to cats, but then there is a third word here and there is no third character here. There are only 2 characters, A, B, B, A. Each of them is duplicated. We have double A, double B here, and the order is A, double B, A. But here we have this word for A, double word for B. So far, this pattern has been matched. Now the last character here, because it's an A, this word is supposed to be dog. But instead we have a new word, which is fish. So the pattern here should have been A, double B, C, where C would have been the last word here. If we have quadruple A right here, if A is mapped to the word dog, then we need to have dog 4 times inside of that string. But instead we have dog, cat, cat, dog. So the pattern here would rather be A, double B, A. I hope it's kind of clear to you guys, but basically we need to map the characters of the pattern to a word inside of the string S and make sure that the order in which the characters appear is the same as the order in which the mapped words appear in the string S. So let's look at my submission here. I just tried this challenge. It was pretty fun. At the time I executed my code, it was faster than 100% of C++ submissions, but this is not very objective because it depends on the runtime and the back end of LeetCode servers and all that. So the words, the function here is called word pattern. It's a Boolean function, meaning we need to return either true or false. The 2 parameters are the pattern and the string S. So the first step here is to get tokens from our string S. So if we have dog, cat, cat, dog, I want to have a vector where each element corresponds to a word inside of the string S. So to tokenize a string or a sentence in C++, a common technique is to use an iString stream. That is an input string stream. And I'm calling it tokenizer and I'm passing it my string S. So now I have a temporary variable that I'm calling word, and I'm using that variable inside of my while loop here. What this while loop is doing is extracting each token from my string S. So I'm using the get line. This is a function here in C++. I am passing it tokenizer as my stream. And then from that stream, I am extracting contents based on this delimiter here. The delimiter in this case is an empty space. So we're going to extract characters from the stream until we reach this space here. So this means we've reached a full word. Then I'm going to store that inside of word and push that word inside of my vector. Then we're going to check again, do we have other words to extract or other tokens? If the string S has not been fully processed, we're still going to be able to extract characters. So we extract them word by word because the delimiter here is a space. So that's how we extract the words and populate this vector. So by the time we're done with that part of the code, this vector is going to contain as many elements as there are words inside of this string. And each element is going to correspond to a word in that string. That is including duplicates and all that. So now we need to check here. The first step to avoid, computing code that has already failed in logic is to check that when we are done getting the tokens from the string, we need to get as many words in our vector as there are characters in the pattern. So if this fails, for example, we have a pattern ABC, but we have like 5 words in the string, then we already know that we have failed. In which case, this will return, this here will be true, meaning that there is a mismatch in the number of characters in the pattern and the number of words in the vector. So we quickly stop everything and return false. So this whole function will be terminated. Otherwise, if we have an equal number of characters in the pattern and words in the vector, then we need to map each character from the pattern to a word inside of this vector here. So what we're going to do is create a map where every key is going to be a character and the values are going to be strings. So I'm calling that map word map, and I'm creating a vector of strings, and I'm calling this checker. So I want the size of this vector to be equal to the size of this vector here, which is holding all the words from the string S. The point of this checker vector is that whenever we are mapping the keys to the values or the characters from the pattern to the words inside of the string S, we need to make sure that we are not mapping a value twice. So if A is dog, B is cats, when we find dog again, we're not supposed to say that C is dog. Dog is already for the character A. It has already been matched with the character A. So if we meet dog again, then we need to skip it and not add it again to our map because it's already been mapped. So whenever we are mapping a non-existent value, we need to add it to this checker vector so that we can check what is already in and what is missing. Now I have this I value, is an integer, and I'm using it for to control the indices or the index when I'm adding the values to my checker. So first I am looping through every character inside of my pattern string. I am looping through them by reference. So I have char, C, and char is by reference. We only need to map characters to values from the word list if the key, that is the character, hasn't been mapped already. So for example, when we meet A the first time, we're going to check that part here. Can we find A as a key inside of the map? If we can't, then this here will return the ends, because this is an iterator. It's going to point past the ends of the map, meaning that we could not find the value or the key inside of the map here. So we are now outside of the map. So this is pointing to the ends. In this case, it was not found, meaning we are safe to add that key to the map. And secondly, we need to check that whatever value we are trying to add does not currently exist in the map, as in it's not already been mapped to a key. So we can use the find function from the algorithm library in C++. We pass it the beginning of the vector, the checker vector. This is an iterator. We pass it the end, meaning we're going to search through the entire vector. And what we are searching for is the value at position I or index I inside of the word list. Remember that the order of the words inside of the word list vector is the same as the order of words in the string S. So that's why we are using this vector to go through the words that we need to map. Now, if we did not find that value already in the vector, then we're going to get the value ends. So the ends here is past the end of the vector. Again, it's an iterator, meaning that this value was not found in the vector. So this whole condition here means if the key doesn't exist yet in the map, and if the value has not already been mapped to a key inside of the map, then we can go ahead and map the character from the pattern to the words inside of the word list vector at index I. And then we need to record that insertion in the map by adding the word that we just mapped to our checker vector. And then we move our I index, the index counter if you want. We increment it by 1 so that these lines are always going to be correct. You can pause this video and look better at my code if you want to understand what it's doing. If you have any questions, also feel free to ask them in the comment section. But for now, let's look at the final step now for my algorithm. We then need to verify from index 0 all the way to the end of the pattern string if the characters are properly mapped or properly matched to the words in the word list vector position by position. The moment one of them fails, it means that the pattern has failed. So in this case, we simply return false. This for loop will terminate and the entire function will terminate the moment there is one single error. Otherwise, if this loop went from start to finish and it did not return, it means that the pattern matched and therefore we can return true. So that's how you solve this challenge basically. If you guys want to be sure again that it works, I'm clicking submit now. Let's see what happens. And we just passed again the test cases. So that's it guys for the solution of the LeetCode problem called word pattern. If you like my video and you like my C++ tutorials, please subscribe to my channel. See you guys.